So over the past several years, I've been using a ton of different action cameras. And in fact, I have been using the Insta360 X2, X3, X4, and now the X5. These cameras have evolved quite a bit. And honestly, I've been a little bit disappointed with them overall for just using it as a go-to action camera. They've always been good for like B-roll or anything like that. Well, the Insta360 X5 has actually surprised me quite a bit. I want to show you guys some footage that I captured with the Insta360 X5 and their brand new chest mount. This is a really cool setup that they just came out with that's specifically designed for the X5. Before, in the past, whenever you had to use one of these 360 cameras with a chest mount, a lot of times they stuck way out from your chest, but with this one, it sits more flush. Or before, they would have to be set sideways because inevitably this could potentially hit your bars if you were to hit a big bump or something like that. But with this new chest mount, it just conveniently sits inside this little case right here. It's got a little foam insert that basically will protect the lens, and it also covers up the microphone just a little bit so you won't get as much wind noise. But it sits nicely in here just like this. And you have this little tripod mount right down here. So first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to mount this to the tripod mount, and it's got a thumb screw right down here at the bottom. We'll get it started. Once you get it started, you're going to want to have the screen facing out. So just like this. So now we can tighten this down just by holding it just like this. Get it nice and tight. Once that's tightened down, this will actually tilt back and it'll sit flush against the foam padding down there. So your camera is going to be nice and protected. Then you have this little clip that's also got foam padding on it that will go over the front just like this. And then it will clip over on this side. And it is a very nice tight fit. So you don't have to worry about your camera moving around or wiggling. And whenever you put this on, it's gonna sit something like this. Let me show you, I'll put it all the way on. So you've got a couple of different straps. You've got one that goes over your shoulder. And I found that I put this one on first. It makes it a little bit easier. And then I'll put the one that goes down below my arm on next. Then you have adjustments on the side right here and on each side, and then you have these adjustments up top. And so it's going to sit something like this. So you've got a nice flat mount that goes on your chest, and the camera sits really, really close. This actually feels a lot less cumbersome than a standard like action camera mount that I've used with like GoPros or DJI action cameras. This is super nice. All right, so now you know a little bit how this is actually mounted up. Let's go out to the trail and check out some ride footage and let me know what you guys think of the quality from the Action 5 and this chest mount. So I'm going to be recording all of this on the Polygon Siskiyou T7E. This bike is super cool. I can't wait to get out and ride this and try out the new Insta360 X5 with the new chest strap. Already super impressed with the X5 as is. Be curious to see what it's like on this brand new chest strap. It's been a hot minute since I've been on this bike. Hopefully this footage looks really good. I'm excited about it because with Insta360, even with the setup as it is, where it's got one lens basically facing forward, you have the option to reframe this really easily, which is a huge advantage over other action cameras. And that's one of the reasons why I'm really liking this X5. The quality seems to be pretty good overall, and it should be pretty good with the single lens. So one thing I'm going to pay attention to while I'm editing this is what the sky looks like, because sometimes with Insta360 cameras, the sky winds up having a jittery look to it whenever you're going in and out of dark places and the sky's super bright. So that'll be a real curious thing. But as of right now, this is definitely the most comfortable way that I've ever carried one of their 360 cameras on a chest strap. Usually they stick out really far, but being that this is flat against your chest, it's really well designed, and I'm hoping that it works quite a bit. It's really nice how flat it is against you, and I'm hoping that I have a lot of adjustment of the image. This will be a big test here. It's pretty dark in here, even though the sun's up and it's bright outside the woods. The tree coverage is pretty intense. Man, this polygon is quick. Beautiful today. Hopefully this video footage is also. There's a good test of being in the woods and then coming out to a very bright area. Insta360 tends to perform much better in bright areas than dark areas, but that's generally with the dual lens setup. We're running single lens 4K, so in theory this should perform just as good as any action camera out there.
Now, as I was editing this, I wanted to point this particular section out. This is a really interesting section. There's a lot of shade. There's a lot of sunlight coming through. The sun is directly in front of us. In the Insta360 X5, I think performed really well under these really challenging conditions.
Now, one of the other big features of the X5 is the replaceable lenses. So with all the other action cameras out there, GoPro, DJI, and I even believe the Ace 2, if you damage the lens, you could basically replace it. Where with the 360 cameras, you couldn't do that before. It was a huge process. It's kind of a nightmare. Pretty much your camera would be hosed, but with the X5, for 29 bucks, you can buy lens replacements, which I was really excited to see that they were only $29. I was convinced they were going to be 80 bucks a lens, but they didn't do that, which was great, which gives me a lot more confidence when I'm out using this camera. Okay, I just checked some of the footage and it's looking pretty stinking good, and I'm pretty excited about it. I'm hoping that when I get it back home and actually start doing some editing on it, it looks as good as what I'm hoping, and you guys are already seeing that footage. Let me show you guys what you can do with this. You can manipulate the basically horizon balance of this. Now this is supposed to have horizon balance on, and it probably is mapped really well to the horizon, but for mountain biking, you don't want to show too much of the ground. You want to show a little bit higher of the sky, so you want your bars to kind of be kind of on the lower 2/3 of the screen, I guess, the bottom portion of the screen. You have too much of your bars in the middle, you miss what's out in front of you. And so being able to readjust is a major thing when it comes to biking on a bike, because you could be standing up and then you can change the angle, sit down, you can change the angle, all that stuff. So very, very cool that you can adjust this, and then you can change your aspect ratio also, which is a huge advantage for being able to deliver stuff onto different types of social media. You can post on your stories, reels, and then you can do, long format style for YouTube. I am not going to do any color correcting, any of that stuff. I'm just going to be using the app and getting slowered. Hopefully this jump is good. Haven't looked at it yet today. Oh, it looks good. Whew. We'll see how that turned out. It is definitely the hardest part of a mountain biking, action camera setup, is these little patches of light in dark, shadowy areas. Really affects the way the footage looks. So this is pretty much what it's gonna look like on this, just raw right out of the camera. This is what you can expect. Now, of course, all this can be edited. I've got this on vivid color. You can change all of that stuff. Like, this is what you can expect with the X5 in single lens mode on this new mount that they came out with. So regardless of how this footage looks, if it's not looking like I hoped it looked, I'm just really excited for the direction that Insta360 is going. I feel like this mount is going to be a huge change for the way that people use these in mountain biking. And I think that they could really improve on it if it's not already super good. Kind of weird talking about this with you guys actually seeing the raw footage right off the camera right now, and me just wondering what it's going to look like while I'm on the ride. But this new mount, it's so comfortable. It feels really steady. Typically in the past, you had to have the camera stick out a little bit. You had to have weird mounts to make a 360 camera work. But with this, it feels really good. It feels less cumbersome than the standard chest mount for a GoPro or a DJI action camera, because it's so flat against your chest. Now, if this is your first time kind of seeing an Insta360, remember, this is single lens mode. You can do the 360 mode, but with this mount, they want you to do a 2-lens mode, and you actually have to set the setting. I'll show you right here. You actually have to turn on a setting to be able to use this mount. And I don't think it's so you can use this mount. I think it's actually designed so it optimizes the microphones for this mount, because it does have a wind guard that you stick the camera down into, kind of like a little foam wind guard to give it even better wind protection. However, when I tried this in the past, and obviously you guys can hear the quality here in just a second, or you probably already have, when I tried this just kind of out on the road to test it before I came out here, I noticed that the wind noise was still there, and the wind noise wasn't necessarily there when I was in 360 mode outside of this mount. So I don't know if there's some optimization that they can do to improve it, but hopefully you guys are hearing high quality sound through that regular microphone. But if not, you can simply use this solution of using an external mic, which is awesome. There we go. Let's go back to the house and talk about with this camera with this particular mount. What an awesome ride. What an awesome bike. This thing shreds. All right, so what did you guys think of the X5 on this particular mount on mountain bike trails? I think this is the best camera that Insta360 has made yet. I really do feel that this is a massive improvement even over the X4. The quality on this is just fantastic. The versatility on it is really good. I've actually been reaching for this more than I have my DJI cameras, and that's kind of a rare thing. I almost always grab my DJI Action 4 and Action 5, but now I'm grabbing this because I can reframe everything and I get really high quality images out of the camera. I am super impressed. I love this mount. I plan on using this more and more, especially with my external mic. Now, like I was saying earlier in the video, the quality of the mic is much better in 360 mode when it's not in this case. I do think that they have some improvements that they can make to make the sound quality better while it's inside this case. But whenever I'm using this particular mount, I almost always want my DJI mic, just because that external mic does sound a lot better than the internal mic with this particular setup. All right, guys, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think. I'll put some links down to this in the description. Last I checked, Insta360 was out of stock on this. That's kind of a common theme with a lot of Insta360 accessories. They put the products out there, and if you don't grab them up right away, they pretty much go out of stock almost instantly. So you'll have to keep your eye out for this. It may show up on Amazon. If it does, and I find that, I'll put the link down below to that also. But if you do want to pick up your Insta360 camera, the X5, I would really appreciate it if you did use my links. It does help out this channel, and it's no additional cost to you. If you guys enjoyed this, click the like button, click the subscribe button, and again, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of this setup. And if you guys are really enjoying this channel, go over to my Patreon, Mike's Unlocked Garage. You're gonna get some extra stuff there, and it's as little as $3 a month. I'll put the link down below for that also. But as always, get out there and ride your bike.
I got you, yeah, SOS, thought you wasn't